Hi, and welcome. You know, the standard of living in the world has continued to increase, but a recent study by the World Health Organization showed that in the last 45 years, the worldwide suicide rate has gone up 60%. What's happening? How can we meet those challenges in life? How do we live to be happy? Well, whether you're a male, female, rich, poor, black, white, brown, all of us have a deep, profound feeling that this happiness is possible. People for ages have been saying, how then should life be lived? The famous philosopher Plato said, life should be lived as play. Now, when people hear the word play, sometimes they think, that's something frivolous, something you do when the work's all done, which for most adults is never. Right? So today what we're going to do is I'm going to take you through a journey into deep play where we can see the impact that it can have not only on our own life, but on the world as a whole. Play is both a verb and a noun. To play, like you play in life with your friends, your family, nature, people at work, strangers on the street. And then the noun, the play, or the play of life, which is actually life playing us. Much to our chagrin, life doesn't always fit with our plans. And we'll take a look at how do we play with that uncontrollable life as well. So let's start with the verb. To play is both instinctive, intuitive, natural. You know, no one needs to teach a puppy or a child how to play. Play is the oldest form of learning known to the human race. For me, my work is play. I spend my life teaching people about the benefits of laughter and play, and about a lot of the health benefits, such as, do you know there's only one thing that relaxes you more deeply than laughter and play? And what do you think that might be? Very good. Yes, sex. Right? But don't worry, I'm not going to ask you to do that in the audience today. All right. So. Also, during times of hearty laughter and play, your body produces, it allows your T cells count to go up, which boosts your immune system. And there is one other thing that also boosts your immune system as much, and that is, nice try, you're on the right track, falling in love. People in love have a higher T cell count, are more immune to diseases. So if you don't play yourself silly today, just fall in love with somebody here. It'll serve the same purpose. Better yet, fall in love with yourself. That's a real good place to start. I was really lucky, as you heard in the announcement. I was the last of 10 kids, and I grew up playing with everybody and everything. The world was my playground. Professionally, I created 2 companies, both dedicated to play, one to business, health, and education, one to, revolutionize play at the universities. And we touch the lives of thousands of people every year, sometimes thousands at a time. But I also was interested in how breath and play could heal deep psychological wounds and trauma. So I traveled around the world and set up healing centers, which also allowed me to explore many cultures, religions, teachers, Papaji, Osho, the Dalai Lama, and people that were my teachers that never knew they were my teachers. So what I found is that wherever I went, everyone spoke the language of play. It was like the mother tongue universally. So, now, what are we going to do with all that? Well, one of the things that happens is that play breaks down the barriers between people, whether it's racial, religious, sexual, and it makes us feel as a community, as one. Let me give you an example of that. In a few moments, I'm going to ask you to do something. In a few moments, I'm going to ask you to stand up and just meet and greet the people around you. Stand up, shake their hands, give them a high five, blow them a kiss, whatever's appropriate for you. Do that now. Just stand up, meet the people behind you, in front of you, both sides. Great, and have a seat. Have a seat right there. Have a seat. That was beautiful. All right. Now, just notice what happened in the room there. A minute ago, you were listening to me and wondering, I'm going to make you do something. What's that? The next moment, you were playfully greeting each other, and then life energy went through the room, a buzz, Now, why is play so successful at making us feel as one, as bonding us, is because it's a different form of communication than we're used to. See, most of us are used to someone like this, me or some of other speakers standing up and speaking to you, and hopefully you're listening on the other side, and we strain everything through our mind, and our mind judges everything. He's not so funny. Well, that was pretty good, What's else are you going to make us do, right? Laughter, play, the whole game of play happens kinesthetically. It bypasses the mind, goes straight to the heart, straight to the body, straight to the spirit. Now, as you can see, to play, the verb, is absolutely one of the best medicine for whatever ails you and one of the greatest joys in life. What about the noun? The noun, the play of life. Well, life always wants to play with us. I have a beautiful Samoyed dog named Reba, and everybody who sees her wants to pet her, wants to play with her, and she wants to play with everybody. Now, if I were to call my dog up on stage right now, just go like, come Reba, come on down. Come Reba. Just like that. Everybody's attention in the room goes to Reba. Now, why is that? I become history, people are going, oh, isn't that cute? People talking baby talk to a dog, right? I want to ask you, when is the last time you came into a meeting late and got that kind of reception? It's not because Reba is more powerful than you. It's a matter of life connection and worldview. You see, Reba believes, by and large, she's part of this abundant, wonderful universe that she doesn't understand, but is hers to explore. And we, by and large, have been trained to believe that we already know what's all about, that there's a limited amount of everything in life, not enough love, not enough money, and that our job is to cut out our piece and defend it against all comers. That is the most stressful way you can live your life. Everybody and everything become the enemy. We sometimes become so obsessed with our fear of survival that we forget to explore the wonder of life and those other people around us. So what can we do? Well, as you've already learned from this morning, we can stop and take a breath. Let's do that now. Notice that as you breathe, there is a direct connection between breath and life. If you want to live life fully, don't hold it out. Breathe it in like it is. Yes, breathe, and don't see yourself or make yourself a separate unit. Just like you aren't separate from life when you were laughing and all playing together, so you too are a part of life. And all of us have our stories of, why we can't be happy and why we need to isolate ourselves. Don't take yourself so seriously, or your story. We all can feel a deep sense of connection if we allow ourselves to. So, I met a wonderful Tibetan monk in my travels who actually taught me the Alchemy that compassion can bring between what seems to be opposites. He said that when you feel depressed, when you feel stressed, frustrated, hopeless, suicidal, take that part of yourself and embrace it as if it was your own child, beautiful, vulnerable. Let that part tell you everything from the depth of their heart. Don't stop them, correct them, try to fix them. Just listen. Be with them. You see, being with breaks the illusion of separation and suffering. The deeper the pain, the greater the joy for being met there. Alchemy. Compassion creates gold out of lead. So, what can we do here? Well, for one, in my travels, I began to think I was becoming more like a play monk, but life had other ideas for me. On my 50th birthday, I was in India, and I decided to throw this enormous, elaborate Arabian Nights tantric party. We had wall-to-wall mattresses covered with silk. We had people wash their feet. The 200 guests each got their feet washed as they came into the room. It was a wonderful party, and at the end, I was saying how I've pretty well done everything I wanted to do in my life, and someone from the back hollers out, "Do you have any regrets?" And my first thought was, who let this guy in? But it was a fair question, so I thought and I answered, yes, I do. I would have liked to experience what it was like to be a father, but that time has passed, and I'll dedicate my life to exploring the mystery of play. I didn't know what I had asked for. Life's response was instant. In that room was my future wife and mother of my children. Yes, I did become a father, but life wasn't through with me. My wife and I lost 3 children in 4 years. We were devastated, shattered. My first child, my daughter, his heartbeat stopped in the womb. My son, who looked just like me, was born into my hands and died there. My 6-month-old son, Camilo, died on the operating table. I'd like to tell you a little bit about the story of Camilo. My wife and I were immersed in a struggle to try to save his life. He desperately needed a liver transplant that was not available in Canada. It was an election year, and the media made us a story. You know, parents fight failing system to save their son. All through the chaos, Camilo's condition continued to deteriorate. But all the way through it, he was laughing, playing, totally present. For him, there was no story. For him, he was content with life just as it was. He was our grounding stone. When he died, our world stopped. Our story stopped. A deep, ancient dance of death stilled our being. Beyond the media circus, beyond who was right and who was wrong, beyond loving and hating, just raw life playing itself out. In the days, weeks, and months that followed, there was no escape, nowhere to run, although I tried sometimes. Our grief counselor, Judy Cakes, who was very helpful, I would say to her, "What should I do? When will this end?" She would simply look at me and smile, hold me, my broken heart, in her warmth and care, and she wouldn't say anything. There was nothing to say. She would just be with me. A day came when joy began to come back. I remember my wife felt it first. She came in from the garden and there was joy in her eyes. But I didn't understand it. I realized that I was feeling it too, but I didn't want to feel it. I felt guilty and wanted to return to the sacredness of my grief. But life and the play of life was relentless. Behind all hope, behind all hopelessness, I began to feel a vibration of love in everything and everywhere. A deep peace arose, and everything floated in it, including our grief. I realized it had always been there. It was a love that passed all understanding. It was home. And what is that home? Who knows where it begins, where it ends, if it's always dancing? Our job was to listen to that small, still voice that said, happiness is right here. You are whole. You are beautiful. You are life itself. Let it flow through you. And what did we learn? We learned that life is precious and everyone dies. That we need to stop and take time for what's important, to play, to engage with life as it is and surrender to that moment. To stop our stories, or as Katie Byron says, to ask ourselves, who would we be without our story? Scary stuff. But you don't lose your identity when you are still and listening. You lose the image you are so desperately clinging to. And what a relief. In that is the freedom we seek. I'm not here with you to change the world in 18 minutes, but I will say that we can begin to sense that what we seek so far and wide is here, now, in this moment, in this room, in each moment, and as close as our own heartbeat. And that through a deep sense of play and embracing life each moment as it is, we can live life with compassion, with playfulness, and be aware of the connection to all life. That through the irreversible power of play, we can wake up personally, communally, globally, to a joy of life that is our birthright. Thank you.